Champions Mojo is part of the CG Sports Network.
Welcome to the award-winning Champions Mojo, hosted by two world record-holding athletes and health, life, and leadership coaches. Be inspired as you listen to Conversations with Champions. And now, your hosts, Kelly Pallas and Maria Parker.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Champions Mojo podcast. And today, as usual, I am co-hosting with Maria Parker. Hey, Maria.
Hey, Kelly.
And Dara, hello. We're going to give you the proper introduction, and then we're going to welcome you to the show.
Hey, Dara.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So we are beyond thrilled today to get to talk to one of the greatest Olympic swimmers of all time, Dara Torres. We hardly need to introduce this amazing athlete and person, as she is so well known for her incredible 5 Olympic performances, 84, 88, 92, 2000, and 08, and 12 Olympic medals. Perhaps most inspiring is her age-defying comeback at the 2008 Olympics, where at age 41, and as the mother of a 2-year-old, she became the oldest swimmer to stand on the podium, winning 3 silver medals in that Olympics, 2 in the relays, and silver in the 50-meter free by 1/100th. I remember watching that on TV and just, I could not believe. I mean, still to get silver is amazing, but just missed the goal by 1/100th. So, Maria, tell us more about Dara.
Sure, Kelly. Of course, we could talk for hours and not cover all of Dara's athletic accomplishments. But she's also an entrepreneur and a best-selling author. She's written 2 books, Gold Medal Fitness, which is a New York Times #1 bestseller, and the book Age is Just a Number. She's a regular keynote speaker. She's worked as a model. You can see she's very beautiful. She regularly works in sports media. She's involved in charitable work to raise money for cancer research and drowning prevention. And since 2019, she's been the health and wellness officer for Can I Brands, the CBD health and wellness company. There's, of course, a lot more to talk about, but let's just get to it. We're so grateful to have you here. Welcome, Dara.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me. It's nice to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dara, thank you. So, Dara, it's like, like we said, your accomplishments, your resume, everything that you have done in your life, you just keep getting better. Like you just keep going and going and going. And this is really inspirational to anyone out there. So you've got this string of Olympics, bestsellers. I know you're a coveted speaker. You are helping people, you're helping charity. How do you stay motivated, and tell us kind of what you've been up to, and what do you think about when you wake up every morning?
Yeah. What's in your heart? That's exactly what I wonder.
Well, considering that I used to get up so early, now I'm like a late sleeper. And it's like, there's the first thing I think about is like, can I turn over and like snooze for 5 more minutes, or do I need to get up? But I think everything has always been like on a schedule for me, my whole entire life. But I've always been the type that even though I know what's coming up, when I'm done with one door shuts, the next door opens. And I'm not one to think about all I've done in my past. I'm like, okay, I'm done next, And so there was actually a point in time when I almost like wouldn't even think that I was Olympian, because it wasn't in my head. It was like, okay, I'm doing this now. I'm on TV. I've got this going on. And so, that is sort of how my thinking is. I'm very much a goal-oriented person. So, I'll have goals in my head of things that I want to pursue in my life. And that's what kind of keeps me motivated to keep going. I'm definitely not one to sit still. So, anything that keeps me busy, I enjoy doing.
Do you like the fact that you're sort of an icon for aging women? Yeah, I mean,
I think, well, I think for a while, like when I was training for 08 and I was older and I had my daughter, it didn't feel like I was middle-aged, and I'm not really sure what that feels like anyway, but when you were like growing up and your parents were in their 40s, you just thought, oh my God, that is so old. And when I hit my 40s, I'm like, God, it doesn't feel old, And so, I didn't really realize that people were looking up to me until I was, I started training for the 2008 Olympics almost 2 years before. So about a year before is when it all started to hit me that people were really hoping that I can make an Olympic team, because that might help them like do something they put off doing, or do something that they thought they were too old to do. So that's when I really started to feel the pressure, is about a year before '08.
Do you
Yeah,
still
and
feel pressure? Sorry.
No, not really. And in fact, I welcome it when people come up to me and they might recognize me, or a lot of times you're on an airplane, like people know who you are. The flight attendants see like the little sheet of people's names, and they will come up to me and talk to me. And I love that. And they always apologize, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to bother you." I'm like, "You're not." I actually enjoy when people come up to me, ask me questions, and just talk. Like I'm a very outgoing person, so I enjoy that.
Yeah. And I would say, just knowing a lot of master swimmers that are men, I think you have inspired both genders with age, that age is just a number. And, we would love to hear kind of that aspect of, now you are not 41. We can add, it's 2021. We can add 13 years to '08 and know how old you are. You're 54. You look way younger. If that's even like,
Is that important?
Is so we're all, this society, everybody's going to age, no matter if we got 20-year-old listeners or 40-year-old listeners or 60-year-old listeners, people are aging. So how do you keep that in perspective? And, do you ever get freaked out? All of our listeners knows I just turned 60 in September and I was freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, now I'm old. But so how do you think of this?
It's really not the number that freaks me out. It's when I start to look down and see some sagging skin. And, I mean, people think I don't have it, but I do. I just hide it well. My legs, I've had so many knee surgeries on my knees that I can't get muscle on my legs anymore. And it's just like, I have so much skin hanging, where the knee surgeries were around my kneecaps and stuff. And so I am, my age for sure. But I also like to work out, and I try to stay away from the sun, because I basically lived in the sun my whole entire life with the pools that I trained outside in. And it's really about just taking care of yourself. And for me, exercise not only makes me feel good inside and relieve stress. I know that you'll look at on the outside too, but it's life, and you're going to age, and you're going to start to see things that you don't want to see, or you wish you had your old body back, but that's just, the cycle of life, and you just have to accept it.
I love how you've continued to challenge yourself with new things. I think that's what, as you age, one of the fun things for me is trying something new, trying a new sport. But it's also hard to say, I can't do that anymore. Do you ever, I mean, you said you're totally forward looking, but do you ever have a little bit of sense of loss over what you were once?
Well, I mean, when I get in a pool and if I swim or practice, the first thing I tell the coach is, don't time me, because I don't want to know my times, because it's so set in my head of what my best times were in practice and what I should be. And I know at my age that I can't do that. And so, the coaches know, like, don't get a stopwatch out and don't yell at my time when you're yelling at everyone else's time's up, because I really don't want to know. So in that sense, yes. But I'm still kind of the type of personality where I still want to try things. There are some things that might be more death-defying that, I won't try, like I did, like skydiving when I was younger. And my daughter did paragliding this summer, and I'm not going to do that. And so there are some things where I'm like, okay, I did that when I was younger. I don't need to do it now, but I'm still up for trying new things.
That's great.
Do you swim still?
You know what? I haven't swum since, I probably swum a couple of times since COVID, but where I live right now, there's not any programs that are close by, and I'm taking my daughter to school early in the morning when I could be swimming, and I don't want to swim in the sun. So, and all the pools here in Florida are outdoors, so it's very hard for me to swim. But I also have a house in Sun Valley, and when I go there, I want to swim, but then I get kind of asked to coach, and I really love coaching. So I haven't really had a chance to swim because I've been coaching more than I've been swimming. So, but the answer is no. I haven't swum in a while.
So what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So you mean for exercise
or fitness?
So I enjoy Pilates. I've been doing that. I do a class called Solid Core, which is also on a reformer, but on a megaformer, which I really enjoy because it basically works like every muscle in your body, as does Pilates. I like to take TRX classes. I like to spin. I try to run once a week, but just because of my knees and stuff, I try to be very, very cognizant of how I'm feeling and is this going to hurt or not. And yeah, I just like to be outside. I'm a very much an outdoors person. If I go to the beach, I try to stay in the shade, but then I may go like paddleboarding or surfing or body surfing or something. And then I get back in the shade again. So I just like everything outside. I'm just an outdoors person.
We read that, and I remember reading at the time, and I just sort of rehearsed it again, is the preparation that you did for the 2008, which was like you had to tell yourself that you'd done everything that you possibly could. And it sounds like you did everything that you, from nutrition to stretching to fitness and all around. How do you still apply that to everything that you do today? Is that how you live your life?
I'm not as diligent for sure. I think it's very hard to live your life in that kind of cocoon and have to do everything so detailed. And I'm not being coached right now, and I was coached before, and I had my strength and conditioning coach, I had my stretching trainer, I had my sprint coach. And so it's just kind of nice to just be like, I'm just going to do like what I feel like doing. I'm going to eat what I feel like eating. And and so I'm not as diligent as I was when I was training, but I also know like how much to do and then when to sort of take a step back and maybe not do as much, whether it's eating or whatever it is. And you also have to remember, like in 2008, my training was much different than all the other years that I trained. I thought I could do what the kids did because my mentality was what always was, when from a teenager on, was the more you do, the better. And if the kids were going double workouts every other day and doing 9 workouts a week, and that meant that I had to do that. But then I realized very quickly that at 39, 40, 41 years old, you can't train like that. And so the workouts for me were hard. I was only doing 5 workouts a week, but I also had my strength and conditioning. I had my stretching. I had other things I was doing to actually help me recover so I could do the workout. So it was much different. And it wasn't, for me, it was intense. But if you look at the number of hours that I was training compared to the number of hours when I was younger, it was different, but that's what my body could do when I was older.
As an aging athlete, this is a constant question and concern for me. I'm wanting to try new things and get better. And then I also walk the line of not wanting to be injured. Yeah. So what advice do you have for a lot of our listeners or, masters athletes and trying new things? What advice do you have for us for not getting injured and still being able to learn new skills and do new things and stretch ourselves?
So I go to a different number of a couple of studios that I go to, and you have these women that are our age that are working out like 5 times a day, and they're crazy. And I don't know what they're doing because they're not allowing their body to recover. So what I tell people our age is listen to your body. If your body needs a break, it's not going to kill you. And believe me, I come from a very obsessive training background. And when I had my eating disorder, being obsessive about things. And, it's okay to take a day off. Like you're not going to kill yourself. And so I tell older people, like, listen to your body, and your body will tell you, what you should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's great advice. So Dara, it's, your book is amazing. It covers not just from the outside, it looks like you had a perfectly charmed life, but we all know that that's kind of never always a mirage. For everybody, but you overcame an eating disorder. You've lost a couple of really, important people in your life, coaches. And so other than those couple of things, which you addressed in your book, what has been a recent obstacle or obstacles that have really kind of, this is how I got through this?
I think for me, it's being able to be the best mom for my daughter. And she's 15 now. And at that age where she's combative and, a little sassy and talks back. And, I'm used to just sort of nipping things in the bud and moving on, but that just doesn't happen with teenagers and teenage girl, especially. And so that's what's been, I think, kind of hard for me right now, is trying to figure out the best way to talk to my daughter without getting, upset with her when she pushes, And, I have my moments when I'll yell or I guess, raise my voice, I should say. But I think that's been very tough for me, is figuring out how to, be the best mom without, being combative with her when she's being so combative.
Have
And
you
she's a
overcome
great
out?
kid too. I mean, she has the biggest heart, and with everyone else, she's great. But with me, it's like just always kind of, and we're both Aries, and, we're both very, strong headed, although I'm an extrovert and she's an introvert, but she will speak her mind, and which is great. And I love that. But I think the hardest thing is just trying to figure out a way to talk to her that, and I'm still learning, that is going to be best for her and best for me.
How do you
Yeah.
apply what you've learned in, all the other hard things that you've been through to this, which is a different kind of hard thing?
I've never had patience, and it's hard to, and you don't have patience when you're training for a sport. You're just going, and you want to see results right away. And sometimes you have to have that patience to see the results, because it's a long process to get to where you're at that swim meet and tapered and rested and ready to go. And so I kind of apply that with learning the patience I had to learn through swimming, to apply that, with my daughter.
That's great. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
So, again, our listeners know Maria and I really well, and our listeners know that I have struggled on and off throughout my life with a skin condition, eczema, and then something after that caused by the medicine. But we read that you have had psoriasis on and off throughout your life, fellow, skin sufferer. And I think what people don't realize is, the skin is your largest organ, and it's the one you present to the world. And when something is wrong with your skin, it can be really gnarly. So tell us about if that's been something that you've overcome, or how you're doing with that. And, we'd love to hear about that.
So my psoriasis would flare when I was training. And I'm not sure if it was because the chlorine and the sun and the stresses of, trying to reach your goals. And when I go to swim meets, it would flare up, and I'd really just get it on my elbows and a little bit on my back. And it started when I was like in my 20s. And, I just kind of swam through it. I was like, I don't know what this is, but maybe I'm using the wrong lotion, or the chlorines, I'm sensitive to the chlorine. And then I finally went to a dermatologist, and he explained to me what it was. And there's really not a lot at that point, back when I was younger, to fix that. And then we got a couple creams and stuff. But, I realized that my, suit going to work is a swimsuit, not something that's going to cover my whole entire body. So, if people look at you and they look funny, that's their issue, not mine. And, this is what my living was for so many years. And being in a swimsuit was my life. So I just had to accept it, and it made life a lot easier once I accepted it.
That's a great takeaway. Just, that when we accept it, then other people accept it. I love that.
Exactly.
I love that.
So tell us, it's just hard to kind of to crystallize this, but you're such an incredibly, a champion, in so many ways. I mean, when I was doing the research on all the other stuff besides the swimming, you just have, it seems like you've tried to live the best life you can and be the best person you can be in all the different areas. But I'm curious, like, a couple of things. One is, what traits do you consider to be important, for human beings / champions? It's like, this is Champions Mojo. We want to know, our listeners, and we want to know what makes you a champion, and what qualities make champions the people that you admire.
Well, the people I admire, aren't always the ones who come in first place. It's the ones that try their best, and the ones that treat people the way they would want to be treated. And that's really a big thing for me. And I think I get asked all the time, well, who'd you look up to? And it was really, for me, the athletes, or the people that were kind to others. And I know that just sounds a little bit silly, but a perfect example is, there was a swimmer who I broke her world record when I was 14 years old. I beat her. I was the first person to beat her at 14 years old, and she was 21. Her name's Jill Sturkle. And then I ended up, taking over her world record at 15. And I remember just going to swim meets, and something as simple as, being in the heat before her and having a false start, and the pool was cold, and I got out and I was freezing, and she was in the heat after me and would come over and give me her towel. Like stuff like that. Like, she didn't have to do that. And here I broke her records and beat her. And here she was just being so nice. And so to me, it's about sportsmanship and, and not necessarily about someone achieving so much in their sport.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is really awesome. So, in the interest of time, we know you kind of were approaching the top of the hour here, and we do have a fun little sprinter round, which we like to do.
Okay.
Is there anything that we have not asked you, Dara, that you would like to share with our listeners?
Maybe what I'm up to now.
Yes. We'd love to know.
So as everyone knows, COVID was sort of dreadful and brutal on everyone. And we all ended up in quarantine. And for me, like I'm always bouncing off the walls. And because of that, because of COVID, all of my speeches that I love giving motivational talks, and they all just stopped. And that's sort of like my baby. Like I love going and telling stories and giving talks and being able to motivate people. So that's starting to pick up a little bit, which I'm really excited about. And I also, as you mentioned, I am on Princess Charlene's Drowning Prevention Foundation. And I think it's very important that kids learn how to swim. Where I live, especially, there's so many bodies of water, whether it's pools, lakes, oceans. And I just think it's so important to get kids, the proper training they need to learn how to be water safe. So that's really dear to my heart. And then I'm also a spokesperson for Can I Brands, which is a CBD company. And I think everyone freaks out when they're like, "Are you sure you want to be associated with a CBD company? Like, doesn't that have THC in it?" And the brand I work with does not have THC. And, for me, being older, like your body starts to change and stuff. And I think one of the hardest things for me after I stopped training was being able to sleep, because I was so tired from all of my training that I couldn't fall asleep. And so one thing kind of led to another, and I met up with this company and I was able to try their sleep products, Can I Sleep? And also I was dealing with an injury and used their Can I Mend? And it really, really helped me be able to heal and be able to sleep at night. And so I'm very excited about that, about being their spokesperson. And I don't know, just being a mom too. I just, I'm busy with my 15-year-old. She'll be driving soon. So I know things will change a little bit, but that's kind of what I've been up to lately.
That's great.
And I could definitely use something to help me sleep.
Yeah.
So good.
Is it good?
It is. And there's no THC in it. And they also have a wellness brand for people who don't want this CBD name on it, that
right.
You can use that, but it's vegan and it's just natural.
How does it work? How does it help you sleep?
So, I'm not an expert on it. I just use the product, and they have a spray or an oil, and within like an hour, you just go into a nice sleep. And then for me in particular, like I don't like feeling hungover, and I feel like I was taking like the Tylenol PMs and these things that would make me feel a little bit hungover. And the CBD products, the Can I Brands, don't make you feel hungover. So I like that too, where I can get up and feel like I actually am rested and not tired.
Well, you look rested and beautiful, so it
yes,
must be working.
Yes. All right. So we just do a fun little sprint around. We're looking for like one word answers here. So we know you're a great sprinter. So cat or dog?
Dog.
Red or blue?
Blue.
Milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
Milk.
Kickboard or no kickboard?
No kickboard.
Mountains or beach?
Ooh, tie.
Tie.
Okay, can I say tie?
Yes, of course. Football or baseball?
Football.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Okay,
All right,
I got the rest. Your favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni.
Favorite vegetable?
Oh, broccoli.
Favorite place to swim?
Pool.
Any pool.
Any
Well, yeah,
pool.
you know what? It's actually probably Sun Valley, Idaho, because in Ketchum, Idaho, they have the most beautiful view of the mountains. So, but I thought you meant like beach or pool. So that's
Yeah,
why I said
no.
pool. But yeah,
You like a
probably
pool.
Ketchum, Idaho.
Okay. How do you relax?
When I go to sleep at night. I don't relax during the day.
What's your shoe size?
11, women's.
Wow. What's your favorite Star Wars or Harry Potter character?
I've never watched Harry Potter, and Star Wars, probably Luke Skywalker.
Okay. Can you cook?
Some. I like to cook what I know. I need to start branching out and learning, but I do cook.
What word comes to mind? Excuse me. What word comes to mind most when you dive into the water?
Calmness.
Nice.
That's a great word.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's apparent. So Dara, this has been wonderful. We're
Thank you
so
so
grateful
much.
that you spent this time with us, and we can't wait for our listeners to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
So thank you so
we'll
much.
Very
continue.
honored you guys had me on. So thank you so much.
I'm excited to see what you're going to keep on doing.
Yep. We're going to keep
Thank you.
watching you. Yep.
Thanks.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
It's now time for the takeaways. Maria, you and I have heard the takeaways are the best part of the show.
That's right, Kelly, because the takeaways are curated information, which is what we give to our clients when we coach them.
If you would like to take your performance to the next level in health, life, or leadership, go to our website and schedule your free 30-minute consultation.
Yes, just click on our coaching page and book there. We're looking forward to bringing out the champion in you.
And now, the takeaways.
Oh, Maria. So we finally got Dara Torres on the show, and she is such a champion, Champions Mojo.
Nice.
Yeah. So nice. And just like
Yeah.
has, the amazing thing about Dara is she is not just an athlete. She has just done so much. She's, philanthropist and entrepreneur. She's just really, she's making a big difference.
She's done lots of sports too. I read that she lettered in volleyball in college. After she finished her swimming eligibility, she went ahead and became a volleyball player.
She's definitely a great athlete and champion. So what was your first takeaway?
Well, as I'm getting older, that I really wanted to know how she managed to stay so fit as she aged. And she said, listen to your body. That's so hard for us, I think, as athletes, because we're used to, like in the bicycle world, it's shut up legs. So your legs are telling you they're hurting. And so you tell them to shut up, and that's how you get to be a better, faster cyclist. But as you age, you also have to somehow balance that with, wait, this pain is going on too long, or this isn't good pain, or, I woke up this morning and I'm really tired. I can't do the workout that I'd set up. So listening to your body, that's still so hard for me. I wish somebody would give me some really concrete directions other than listen, because I'm not that good at listening.
Well, I'm an executive coach. I think I could coach you on this one, Maria. And it's truly having a plan. And I completely agree with you. And I'm going to piggyback that, because I think that one needs to be drilled down a little bit on she mentioned these people that are training 5 times a day, or, even people that are training twice a day at an older age. Now, if you're a listener and you're, a youngster
15,
training twice a day, that's what your sport requires of you. That's one thing. But as we age and we are masters athletes, I think it is absolutely key that, and this might help you, Maria, and if I coach you, maybe listeners will take it to heart, that when you have a schedule, if you can do the schedule combined with listening to your body, so you don't overbook yourself to begin with, you realize I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not 30 anymore. So I'm not going to schedule 8 workouts a week. I'm not going to schedule 6 workouts a week. And I know this is, I'm visiting Dad right now, and I'm training with a master's group that has a lot more people that are kind of, going after competitions, and people know I'm a distance swimmer. So I don't swim nearly as much as most distance swimmers who are master swimmers. I swim 3 days a week or 4 days a week. While I've been here, because there's like a practice every day, I was tempted to go swim every single day that I was here, 5 days in a row. It's a great group. I love the coach. I love the swimmers. I'm back in my home state of Virginia. I took a day off, and I felt so much better. and I performed better than people of similar age and talent and background because I took a day off.
How did you know? How did you know? Tell me about it. Tell me like, I woke up and I thought I can't
listened
do it.
to my body, but I planned it. From the beginning of the week, I didn't get sucked in.
Okay.
To
that's what happens to me.
To the shut up legs. I didn't get sucked into the, okay, I'm just here this 1 week. I'm going to swim 5 days in a row. I knew that from the beginning. And I even told Mark, who's been going with me, do not let me go to practice on Thursday morning. So I think that's what I'm talking about. Like that this is the takeaway, that if you under schedule yourself, that's it. Like we always think as adult athletes that we can do more than we actually can. Seriously.
Right. Because we remember what we actually could do.
Can. We think, and so that's it. So that's my takeaway.
I think this might be a whole show because because there's different parts of, the different ways of working out. There's sort of aerobic workout, there's strength workout. So I'd love to maybe do a show where we talk about how we can balance these as aging athletes.
Yeah. And even Dara, again, listen to the whole show, but she talked about when she was training for the Olympics as a 41-year-old, she only worked out she only swam 5 days a week, but she was also doing stretching and
she had a strength trainer and she had 2 massage therapists and and she was very intentional and deliberate. Yeah. That's good. That's great. Okay. Second takeaway for me.
Yes.
I loved her little story about being kind to people, about how the people that she admired. I mean, she's at the top of the heap, so she's not looking up to anybody. I'm sure a lot of people are looking up to her, but her story about the people that she admired were the people that were really kind and that treated other athletes who are kind to one another. It's competitive out there. I mean, I imagine it's even in the cycling world, ultra distance cycling world, there's, 5 of us doing the kinds of things that I do, but it can be a challenge to be really warm and friendly with each other. So I totally agree with her. I mean, that's what it's all about. In the end, nobody cares, in the end, we're all our records will be broken. In fact, that a record that a 24-hour cycling record that I had set was just broken by an upright cyclist last week. So that's going to happen, and what it's all really about is being kind to one another. So I liked her. My takeaway was like, treating people well, of course. I mean, it's what your mom told you, but of course, especially people that you're competitive with.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, as we said, this is Champions Mojo. What are traits of champions?
Right.
Champions are generally really nice people.
So, true champions.
And my second takeaway was of course, I'm going to love the skin story that she said, she realized when she had psoriasis and she had patches of psoriasis on her skin that she wasn't, her suit that she wore to work is a skinny little, bathing suit. And so a lot of her skin is exposed. Her psoriasis was exposed. And she said, once she accepted, what, this is just what I look like this is what my skin looks like right now. Then she didn't worry about what other people thought of it. So I think that's just applicable to all kinds of things that we worry about, that we, what do I look like? What does my hair look like today? What kind of car am I driving? Whatever. What am I not accepting in my own life that I want other people to accept? And how can we get other people to accept things about us that may not be perfect if we don't accept them?
Yeah, that's great. That's really beautiful. And
true.
I
love that.
And just reminding yourself that you're not your skin, you're not your whatever it is, your wrinkles or your belly fat or your tendency to have a bad temper. You're not whatever it is.
Whatever
that's just one thing. Okay.
Well, great, Maria.
I love you, Kelly.
In the books. Love you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Champions Mojo podcast with host Kelly Pallas and Maria Parker. Champions Mojo is produced by Cabra Media, and a new episode debuts every Tuesday. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. Follow Champions Mojo on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook @Champions Mojo.